What is going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and this is a live show that I'm doing right now to talk about this very rare moment we are in as we speak, literally. So I'm going to go into the astrology of this rare moment. It is Monday around 6:40 p.m. Pacific, so that's 9:40 p.m. Eastern. And I thought I'd do this live show because it's a culmination moment of endings. It's a lot of things that a lot of us have been waiting for so long to get through. I want to talk a little bit today about why it's been hard, why it's been challenging, and how it's going to really, I think, make a greater impact on people and their lives and make their lives much more positive. And I think this positivity is so important at the time that we're in right now. So I just want to say that and just make that noted. Now, I would love it if everybody would share this live video so we can get people in here. I'm going to make some quick shares really quick. Almost there. Hope everybody's doing wonderful out there. I haven't gone in the chat room yet to actually chat with you live. I'm working on that. I'm making some quick transitions, making sure that I get everything done. So just give me a second here and we'll be right with you. The unfortunate part is when you do this show, you can't just like have it preset to share to people. You have to actually share it once it goes live through this whole process, and it takes me about a minute here to share it to my other Facebooks. So if you actually are watching this, you probably already follow my Facebook, but I think it's important to kind of follow the notification aspect through the Leo King page, not David Lawrence Palmer, because I'm not doing stuff on there right now. So give me a second while I make some shares, and then we're going to go into this. And there's definitely a lot to talk about today. A lot. The studio's getting better, by the way. We're trying to get the studio going, trying to upgrade it, trying to make it a little bit more enjoyable to watch the show. I did a big weekend report. If you haven't caught that, make sure that you catch that. It's on YouTube. It's already got over 20,000 views. I can't even believe it. The weekend report. It got shared a lot, almost as much as an uncut. So pretty cool to see. It was really nice to see, and I really enjoyed it. So a lot of other people seem to enjoy it too, which I thought was pretty cool. So thank you for everybody that are sharing these videos and sharing all the information on how this show goes down and what this show is all about, because I think it's important. I think this show's important. I think doing it live in the middle of when we're going through stuff is important, because I think this is where the most understanding can happen as an astrologer. Sure, it's one thing to make predictions and it's one thing to do horoscopes. It's another to talk about it while we're going through the whole energetic vibration and actually kind of be there together and talk about it and go through the energy. And the one that we're going through exactly right now is so important to talk about. And I can't wait to show you the chart. I can't wait to really go over this and really show you that this is a really powerful and important time. So hold on. I'm on the last share right now. It's not even I have the fastest computer too, and it takes the computer a second to get all this going. It's so much I got going on. It's almost like I put way too much on it. For now, I think we'll be all right with that. Okay. And all right, so we are back. Looks like we're really good. Now I'm going to get in the chat room right now on my cell phone. That's how I'm going to do this. That's the best way that I could set this whole thing up. It's too hard to use the computer that's running the thing and then do the whole entire chat room at the same time. There just seems to be a difficulty with that. But we're here. Some people would call this the moment that we've all been waiting for. That's how I would call it, because personally speaking, I have not been really happy about the last 4 years. Now, I think it was amazing and transformational and great, but it was also very difficult, and it was very challenging. So not the easiest thing to really go through the last 4 years of your life. And this moment right here is the phoenix rising, 100% for sure. Like, in such a powerful way, in such a huge way, and in such a magnificent way. And there's a little excitement that came this weekend, but then you come to a day like today when it actually is about to switch over, and you kind of go in your own world. Especially, I'm going to show you. So let's go to the chart, right? Like, that should help everybody out. So let's look at this. I'm literally doing the chart for right now. I did it for 6:40 p.m. It's already 6:48. But as you can see, in the last 8 minutes, the moon finally just entered Leo. And we have this new moon that's going to be happening tomorrow. And this new moon is really exciting because this new moon is trining Saturn, which Saturn is the hand on the watch. Saturn is where we are going literally in life. And it's exciting because this is happening in the middle of a lot of retrogrades. Saturn is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde, and Uranus is retrograde. So we got all three outer planets retrograde, which deal with a very subconscious part of our life, that subconscious parts of ourself that we have wanting to come forward and manifest, especially things that we have really been subconsciously been thinking about for, I would say, the last 6 months or so, very deeply, are finally coming to the surface because Uranus finally just went direct last week. So it's almost like, if you really look at your life, the last, since Friday, it's like, this is all going to go down. Some subconscious like things that you really, kind of percolate on in the back of your mind and your head are really about to come on. Now, the main thing that I'm on here to talk about is this new moon getting ready to trine Saturn, which Saturn rules the time, and Saturn's retrograde, and Saturn is station, which means in the next 11 to 12 days, Saturn is about to go forward and really take us on this, forward thing, whether this is an airplane taking off, the train taking off, the car, the journey, especially in the sign of Sagittarius. And especially since Mars, see that 2945, we are literally at the very edge of Mars and Scorpio. And this is the last of the two malefics doing any shadow work in Scorpio. Now, I talked about that in my weekend horoscope. We're going over it one more time because I kind of want to pound this in people's heads as much as I can. Because I think what people might have a difficult time understanding is, sure, Saturn left Scorpio a couple times. It left Scorpio on December of 2014. It left Scorpio officially September of 2015 as well. But Mars had to come back and do a retrograde from May till now in Scorpio, the end of May. So let's just say June, July, into August. So only 2.5 months per se. And it really had to clear a lot of things that have to deal with dark, suppressing, could be sexual stuff too, not feeling like you're sexually satisfied, but it goes deeper than that. It just has to deal with satisfaction, not feeling satisfied. Scorpio is the sign that rules satisfaction. It rules whether you feel like you are getting what you want or not. And it is finally over. Tomorrow, this new moon happens at the same time that Mars leaves Scorpio. You cannot write this. It's too perfect. So tonight, as we are here live, or if it's daytime, wherever you're at, and I'm going to switch back and actually come back to you to say this part. But we're at a time in our lives where we can finally move into a new story without feeling like the hook is going to pull us back in, or feeling like the boogeyman is going to do something. Now, believe it or not, I have had more Scorpios like disown me, thinking I don't like Scorpios or something because of how I talk about Scorpio being dark, the boogeyman, and so forth. Not easy being a Scorpio. I'm just going to be honest. It's not the easiest sign to be born under. I mean, because of the fact that it deals with darkness. I mean, Capricorn would be the second hardest sign to be born under, since it's Saturn ruled and kind of also rules kind of a slower old age. It's not very bright. You got to remember, like when you look at the chart from Aries to Virgo, those are the youthful, very positive signs. And once you come down to Libra, which is kind of the balance beam, it's kind of in between. It's kind of youthful, kind of old. You know, it's once you get into Scorpio that you officially come to where our body parts, you don't need them. You could cut off your, well, I'm just going to say it, your vagina and your penis, and you could survive. You could cut off your legs, Sagittarius, and live. You can cut off your knees, Capricorn, and live. You can cut up your ankles, Aquarius, and live. You can cut off your feet, Pisces, and live. But the other half, you can't. You have to have. That's why the other signs are so intense, right? Aries through Virgo, when they go through transits, are much more positive, especially with Saturn. But when Saturn turned into Scorpio in October of 2012, you know, Saturn is going to go through, let's just give it, I don't know the exact date of when Saturn comes into Aries. I bet you I could search for it. But it's going to be a while. And so Saturn is now creeping through the bottom parts of our body. You know, this is also where Pluto is. This is where Neptune is. And these are dealing with lower stuff. And so when you get the harder planets dealing in the lower stuff, it's hard. It's hard. It's kind of lower energy. Not that those are bad signs. That doesn't mean you're born under a bad sign. I just want to make that one very, 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 very clear. But what I want to say is, this transitional point that we went through October of 2012, it was Saturn being like the hand on the watch going into darkness. Now, if you watch the sunset every night and you watch it go over the western horizon, there's always that moment when, you know, it's light and then it turns to dark. That's what rules Scorpio. So it takes us off guard, right? You know that moment when it's like, you know, you have a t-shirt on and shorts and then it gets dark and then the mosquitoes come out and they bite you. Well, hence vampires are ruled by Scorpio. Being stung, you know, it's like when you can't see things and all the bugs come out. It's also when, you know, things just like change so much, you kind of have to crawl in and find a place to kind of regather yourself, whether you go into your car or whether you don't just sit outside the whole time unless you're camping. But even back then, if you were camping, you went into the cave like a good Scorpion does. So in many ways, we're all with Sagittarius now realizing I'm kind of over this cave, kind of over being stung, kind of adjusted finally to this energy that has gone in the last 4 years of our life and ready to move on. But you got to remember that Sagittarius is in the middle. It's in the middle of, or it's not in the middle, sorry, it's at the end of the fall, per se. And it's a mutable sign. And we all have to go through change now. So change is the main ingredient. You'd think that Scorpio is about change. Scorpio is about transformation. It means that you are changing from one part of your soul to another. It could even feel like you've become a completely different person. Sagittarius just shifts your perception. But you still look in the mirror every day and go, yeah, I look really good in that tailored suit. Or your favorite shoes, you know. Scorpio kind of like changes you forever. Like you don't look at yourself in the mirror the same anymore. You completely have gone through a humbling experience, because when the sun goes through Scorpio, it literally bites you. It kisses. It's, it's the kiss. That's why, a scorpion kisses you it's a bite. You've been bitten. You've been bitten by a vampire. In many ways, almost have turned into one, and the transformation into one is scary. Good thing Blade's around and somehow converts you back. It's the best thing I can say, or the best way that I could put it in many aspects. But the fact that we are now moving into Sagittarius is being more open. It is opening the doors. It is seeing in positions that you've never seen before. It is ready to take the journey on. And in many ways, I think we all had to go through this gnarly transformational experience. And the positive of Scorpio, the bright white light that brings of Scorpio, comes at the end, not at the beginning. It comes at the end. And so that's why I think Scorpios have a hard time hearing me when I say all this stuff, or when they hear that they're dark, is because you have to go through the darkness first before you see the light. Like to understand the power of light. It's opposite. When you're in Leo, which rules the light, it's kind of like you come to see the most intensity of that lightness. Scorpio is just realizing that there is dark because there is also the counterpart, which is light. And now there is more darkness than light. So for the first time, you actually start to appreciate the light even more. Whereas in Leo, it's like you kind of appreciate for how glorious it is and how beautiful and how great the summer feels and the tan on the beach. Scorpio is just, I am just lucky enough to be able to get a little bit of light through this jail cell. And I appreciate that, and I'm humbled by it. Scorpio is the most humbling sign next to Capricorn. And you got to remember, through this Pluto transit in Capricorn and Mars transiting through Scorpio, they're flipped. They're in each other's houses, right? Pluto is hanging out in the Capricorn house. Mars is hanging out, it's hanging out in its natural home. But, that's what the whole Saturn transit was with Saturn and Pluto. They were in their own homes, but just switched apart and cleaning house. And that is hard. Capricorn and Scorpio together work brutally to shift you forever. Forever. Now we're on a whole different journey. Sagittarius, Pisces, and the finishing of Virgo. Changeable signs. Unsure of where it's all going. It's not like we're going into this new adventure in this new future with knowing exactly the details. Mercury wants it right now as it's in Virgo. But unfortunately, if you really look, Neptune's saying, I got the South Node here. I am going to oppose you. I am not going to let you see everything. In many ways, God, the angels, the higher dimensions don't want us to see it fully. There's a lesson to learn here. And the lesson is to adventure with the blinders on, to make you more intuitive, to make you more sensitive, to give you greater faith in a higher dimension, and to not put so much reliance on always just understanding where you're going. Because I think what's happened is we have been almost in many ways been duped by the way our society has told us to be. And Saturn square Neptune is the systems collapsing, not as in the way that like a complete breakdown. But Saturn square Neptune is, oh my gosh, the hurricane just washed this structure on the beach. And even though it's still standing, I got to kind of fix it and retune it and rebuild it better. It's like the Three Little Pigs. The straw house has to fall to then build a wooden house. And then the wooden house falls to make a brick house. It's kind of the Saturn square Neptune, Uranian energy that we are at right now, while we transition into a new direction, is you are learning to build a brick house. But this brick house has intuitive sensors that work better. This new brick house, you don't get lost into things that pull you away from really the reality you want to harvest. This is where you realize now in the new journey that's coming that in order to get what you really want, you can't, pardon my French here, fuck around. The reason why is we have a South Node Neptune conjunction happening from now until November. How ironic, until the elections in America. This is important because we have to follow where we get lost, but more importantly, where we let our unconscious parts of ourselves take us so far away that Saturn is actually squaring and like with a hook saying, don't go all the way there. Look at where you could really go in a future that takes you to fire and positivity and hope. Why are you drinking every day? Why are you doing drugs every day? Why are you losing yourself in your work every day? Why are you losing yourself here? Why, wherever it's at in your chart. This new transition is asking you, where do you lose yourself so much that it blocks you from really starting to build a life to take you really where you really want to go? And with all this in Virgo, learning that you have to kind of, it might not be the most thrilling, right? Because, this is all squares of Saturn and this is all, oppositions to Neptune, which is all imaginary. This is really saying, hey, let's make a clean slate. Let's have a clean slate. You cannot ask for more of a clean slate than now in your life. The reason why, because Mars has finished its retrograde and its shadow work in Scorpio and Saturn. You have been cleaned out literally. Like God took a stick and literally, I took a knife and scraped the innards of your soul. Then you have this Jupiter North Node conjunction we've been having in Virgo, and here we're about to have the solar eclipse in Virgo, and it's going to be a big Virgo story coming up here, and you're not going to get this much Virgo again, folks, in your life with an opposition to Neptune. Never going to happen again, and this is both another cleansing aspect. I would say that the three cleansing aspects are Scorpio, Virgo, and Pisces. They all work together. Oh, okay. We're back. They all work together. And this is a moment for you to really have a fresh slate. Now, the new moon in Leo, which comes tomorrow with Mars entering Sagittarius, is really going to be about this new heart opening again, but one where you need to take it serious. It's Saturn. It's time to go build something that's going to take you to a great life. It can't just be a fantasy, even though there is this, see this quincunx over to Neptune. It can't just be a fantasy. It's got to be real. You got to do something to make it real. So this is where dreams come true, per se. And the world is flexible enough and you are cleansed enough to do it. And whatever comes to you from now until the 8th and 9th, let's say, because really I think in this preparation of Saturn coming direct and with all this Mars square Venus and the stuff that's coming, you should watch the monthly report that I do. It's on my website, inclusiveastrology.com. But this next, let's say, 7 days to 8 days, from the 2nd to the 9th, per se, is really fated events to take you on your journey and to take it. To take it. Because for some reason it is the direction to getting out of this hellhole that you were in, number one. But number two, getting into the future and to the journey that you really want to. Who knows if it's all going to work out anyway? That's the question with all this Neptune. But learning to just have blind faith in a new way and the vision of the future is where you have to go. No more can you have trust issues about this stuff anymore. The trust issue stuff is what you're working on the deepest. Now, I have one more transit, but I'm going to go back to studio real quick. I don't want to sit there on a chart the whole time and have people go, oh my gosh, this guy's just sitting here talking with a chart. Unless you just want to sit and watch me drink a Sprite all day, which I'm totally cool with. I want to tell you this because we're about to talk about Mercury and we're about to talk about Venus. This moment, remember it. It's hard to get through this moment, though. The last degree of Scorpio is like when you're breaking out of jail, the guards are everywhere, you're limping, and you can see the door right there in front of you. And you know you're about to grab the door and open through it. But there's this kind of creepiness because you're unsure if you could really make it through. Like you're unsure if you could really get through this. And it's almost like you're going to, run to get there and do whatever you can. It was interesting. Just in LA alone, today, there was a high-speed chase. And I feel bad for that person because they kind of like overshot the gun, you know what I mean? Like to go into this story, whatever's coming next. And so I think it's so important to really shift into understanding that don't be so hard on yourself right now. All of this stuff is coming up, all of the gunk, all the craziness. It's like, what? It's so much, It's so much. And it's okay to be emotional. It's all right. Let it out, yo. Don't be afraid. Let it out. You got 4 years that you need to bring out. The only way for the emotional purge to happen is to let it out. And that's what today was about with the moon in Cancer. And this balsamic phase of the moon where it's not fully a new moon yet and so forth. You got to realize like today was not a day to go champion the world. Today was not a day to, set your sights and it's all going to work out because you had to still get through that little weird window where, yeah, you see the door and you're still in jail though. It's not like I think we've gotten so lost into what's coming over the last week with Uranus retrograding and everything. Like it was like, yes, it's all here. And then a day like today comes and kind of tests you, especially we had Mercury square Mars on Friday too. It's like, man, am I thinking about this too hard? Is this too much? Is this all going to happen? But here I really am. And it's kind of like humbling to take you in exactly where you're at this moment. Humbling to take you exactly where you're at in this time period and let this happen. I mean, we're going to have a major shift happen within the next 24 hours. And so let that shift happen and don't get so freaked out on the feelings that are coming up about that first. Don't let that trip you out, So I want to go back to the chart because I want to show everybody this. Venus. This week, Venus enters Virgo. Pretty sure it happens Thursday. It does happen Thursday. Let's just double check and see here if the internet will ever go. Yeah. All right, here we go. Well, okay, here we go. I know it's Thursday. I did all the horoscopes this week. I'm just putting up the official so people know. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? People freak out nowadays if you don't show the proof. Okay. Okay, so here's August. Right here. Today's the 1st, of course. Happy August, by the way. Rabbit. There's the new moon, right? Happening on the 3rd universal time, but it's going to happen on the 2nd for us Americans and people that live in the Western Hemisphere. But look at this Venus. Yeah. Oh, so it's happening Friday. So Friday is going to be into Saturday, very interesting, because Venus is going to finish its cycle. Venus went retrograde last year during the spring into summer in Virgo, and then retrograded back into Leo, and then went through a transit all the way through, and then finally came out of Virgo in the summer and finished. So this is Venus finishing a major one-year cycle for projects, relationships, and so forth on the same week that we're having this new moon, on the same week that Mars is out of Scorpio, on the same week that we actually technically will enter eclipse period, because there's going to be a lunar eclipse that happens exactly 2 weeks from now. Now, it's a prenumeral lunar eclipse, which means it's not going to be a strong one, but it technically is one. So that's why this is such an important time. And especially this week, really pay attention to relationships by Friday into Saturday, projects, and the new direction. Mars will be squaring this spot as well, which will be kind of amplifying the situation more intensely and pushing this situation more intense, which you might not be ready for all the way. So the other thing that's coming, and the reason why I brought up the 8th and the 9th the most, and I want everybody to know this, is because Jupiter will come on the 8th and 9th to 23 degrees of Virgo, and this is where Jupiter went retrograde at the beginning of 2016. So we come out on the 8th, 9th, 10th, right, of Jupiter out of its shadow period, and that is where we really rocket ship forward extremely. And then, of course, Saturn goes direct, and that's the train moving forward, folks, on the 12th. Right when Jupiter and Saturn, look at that. It's going to be pretty gnarly. So just know that this is the start, and this portal that's opening up, no joke, I'm going to be real with people, it's going to last until October, until we get out of the eclipses. This is going to be very, very strong. So that's what I have to say. I'm actually in the chat room, so if people have any things that they want to say real quick, we can talk about them. It looks like we got 1,000 people in here, so. The major thing about this is with a new moon trine Saturn tomorrow, everything is on time. So just because the transit now begins, it's the very beginning. Do not, I'm sure, I believe your whole world's about to start changing by tomorrow. Believe me, I'm a big advocate in that. But like, realize that this is a long portal. There's a lot of things going to go on. Tomorrow I'm doing a webinar with Astrology Hub. Amanda from Astrology Hub, the co-founder of it. It's going to be really cool. It's a free webinar. You can actually go to my David Lawrence Palmer page and sign up for free, or I think go to astrologyhub.com and sign up. It's a free webinar. We're going to be talking about the eclipses, giving this thing away for free. Already over 850 people have signed up for it. So get in there. And I think it's only up to 1,000 people. So if you want to get on this free webinar, like, get on that. And when it comes to questions, I don't answer individual sun signs because it's unfair to the whole chat room. And you can go to my app and watch my sun sign videos where I give you this much energy for each sun sign every week. So it looks like everybody really wants kind of more personal stuff. Anyway, I truly appreciate all the support. I really do. I hope that this video really helped you in understanding what's going on and what's about to happen, and then it's okay to feel the feelings that you're feeling right now and still feel like you're kind of at a weird spot. It's because you are in a weird spot. You're about to shift from one story to another. And like I said at the Conscious Life Expo in February of 2015, when you move from one book to another book, and you're the energy of the writing on the pages that move on to that new book, you're in between spaces, and in many ways you are in between spaces right now. So thanks for all the support. I truly appreciate it. I really do. Hope you share this to other people and share the message. Also make sure that you check out the Leo King app, which you can go to the leokingapp.com. It's really awesome, where you can find out about your daily horoscope every day. That's right. I do a horoscope every day. And with this horoscope, I go into everything that's happening daily. I go into your sun sign horoscope. But more importantly, I really focus on specifics of every moment that's going on, specifics of every day that is going on. And you can do that by just going to the leokingapp.com and checking that out. The leokingapp.com. It's really awesome. It's green screen videos. It's set for your phone. It's only $5.99 a month if you pay for 6 months ahead. It's $7.99 a month if you pay for 3 months, and it's only $9.99 if you pay for 1 month or you do the free trial. So if you do the free trial for 7 days, it will automatically bill you for $10 a month, $9.99 a month, to make people understand and know what's going on with that. So thank you for all the support. I truly appreciate it, everybody. And if you want to watch my August horoscope, you can download that at inclusiveastrology.com. Thanks again. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I will see you guys later.